Energy leak number 4. Do you know the magic words? Do you know the magic words? The words that if you start to use them will truly make your caregiver experience lighter and more manageable and less exhausting. You might even be using them sometimes. And if so, that's great. But I want you to use them more, 10 times more, 20 times more, all day, every day. And I want you to use these words directed towards you. You may already be pretty good at using these words towards others, but it is vital for you as a modern caregiver who wants to have enough energy to stay connected to yourself and your own life and your own goals throughout this whole experience. If that's what you want, it's vital for you to use these words on you. The magic words are kind words, nurturing words, supportive words. Chances are you're going to mess up as a caregiver again and again and again. And while that can't be avoided, you can decide from moment to moment to give yourself grace rather than beating yourself up. How this guidance helps you conserve your mental energy. I firmly believe that the number one thing you as a caregiver can do to conserve your mental energy is to speak to yourself with a kinder, gentler tone. Beating yourself up, criticizing yourself, expecting yourself to be perfect, harshly judging yourself, telling yourself that you're stupid, dwelling on every mistake that you make. Talking to yourself like that eats up your mental energy like a ravenous monster. Whenever I am feeling mentally exhausted, the first question I ask myself is, how have I been talking to myself lately? Now, the point is not about being nice. Do I want the world to be a nicer place? Sure.
But that's not the point here.
The point is that being kind and compassionate towards others and being kind and compassionate to yourself uses less mental energy than being angry or judgmental. Where you might get stuck applying this guidance. Oh, I realize that speak to yourself with a kinder, gentler tone is a simple piece of guidance that for many folks, it's not easy. It doesn't feel natural when you do it. And that's because if you have a strongly negative or critical voice inside your head, that voice has probably been there for a long time. Now it's habitual, it's automatic. Synapses have formed around it in your brain. And it was likely someone else's voice first. Someone of authority and or influence in your past that you deeply internalized, and now you continue to use that voice on yourself. Maybe you grew up thinking that the harshness of that tone of voice is what motivates you and keeps you on track and propels you into action. And I'm not saying that it doesn't produce those worthwhile effects. What I am saying is that you're using a lot of mental energy unnecessarily to get those payoffs. I'm also saying that you will very likely find that a kinder tone of voice can also motivate you and keep you on track and propel you into action. You learned to respond to the harshness of that voice, so you can learn to respond to a kinder tone of voice. That harsh voice in your head is related to some old sticky stuff that might take you some time to unwind from, and you probably will need the help of a coach or a therapist with that process. The good news, though, is that you have a lot of power.
Lots of power.
To start minimizing the strength of that voice and start minimizing the size of that energy leak right now. It will take practice, and it will take you wanting to have more energy to put towards yourself and your life and your goals. And it will take you believing that changing your ingrained thoughts is possible. Doing that work is what will allow you to apply the guidance of speak kindly to yourself. How to start experimenting with this guidance. So, what's a teeny tiny safe experiment that you can do to start speaking to yourself in a kinder, gentler tone? All shifts in your life begin with a decision. Several years into my own rocky caregiver journey, I made the decision that I would no longer beat myself up when I made mistakes. I would still feel bad about them. I would feel disappointed that I made them, because it's healthy to allow ourselves to feel what we feel and to process those feelings. But I would no longer allow myself to speak harshly about my mistakes and pile on the guilt, because that part was truly unnecessary. It didn't change anything, it didn't help anything. It only made me feel worse, and it ate up my mental energy. So I started to experiment. I started to pay attention to my words and the tone I used when I was talking to myself. And then I started to catch myself when I was being unkind and force myself to re-say the thing I was saying in a kinder, more nurturing way every single time, which was often many, many times in a single day. Yes, it took some effort at first to pay attention to the voice in my head and retrain myself and rewire my brain, but now that is second nature to me, to speak kindly to myself. That has become my automatic response when I make a mistake, to feel my feelings and immediately give myself grace rather than giving myself guilt, which saves me a lot of mental energy. That's the experiment I want you to do. Start with 3 solid days of just paying attention to how you talk to yourself. And once you get used to really hearing what you're saying, then you can experiment with catching yourself and forcing yourself to restate it in a kinder, more nurturing way. That's the experiment I want you to do, because that's the peace of mind that I want you to have. Plugging each of these 4 common caregiver energy leaks that we've looked at today is doable. You can shift from savior energy to shepherd energy. You can shift from running a sprint to running a marathon. You can shift away from taking their bait, and you can shift the words and tone you use when speaking to yourself. Making these shifts is what will give you back the mental energy to stay connected to yourself and your own goals and your own life all the way through this caregiving tunnel. And you can make these energetic shifts without needing any of your current circumstances to change, because these are shifts that happen inside of you, no matter what else is going on or what anyone else is saying or doing. And you can do these experiments while you are folding laundry and waiting at the doctor's office and cleaning medical equipment. That's exactly what I did. I hope this workshop has also given you a better understanding of why it can be so difficult to make these shifts and plug these mental energy leaks. You know, it's really easy to collect good guidance, but it can be difficult to apply it. That's why coaches and therapists exist, because your life is complex and making these shifts can get sticky, and plugging these mental energy leaks can take some time and practice, which is why I offer group coaching to caregivers. First of all, it's a structure that enables you to afford consistent access to my coaching for the full timeline that you may need to make these shifts. Everyone's timeline is different. So yes, group coaching is priced well below what a single session with a coach or therapist would cost you. But also, you get the added benefit of listening to me coach other caregivers. And since caregivers share a lot of the same mental energy leaks, you will gain a lot of insight just listening to me coach all of the wonderful people in our group. When you join You First, you immediately get full access to all of our past coaching sessions. So you can start listening and learning today. Even if all you do is spend a few weeks listening to some of the recordings of our previous coaching sessions, your brain will start to shift. As you listen to me coach other caregivers, you will start learning new tools and different ways of dealing with your challenges. No matter what your unique circumstances are, the caregiving part of your life will start to feel a little bit lighter and a little bit more manageable. Wouldn't that be a relief? With or without me on your caregiving team, you're going to make it through this. You know that, and I know that. But if you're at all concerned about caregiving consuming your life, then I really invite you to join You First. Join for 1 month. You can cancel at any time, but let me coach you. Let me help you keep the train of your life on track. Members keep telling me, I wish I had found You First earlier, because it has made a world of difference. Our doors are always open to you at youfirstcaregivers.com. I hope to see you soon, but thank you for spending this time with me, and thank you for being one of the ones who care.